everyone, and welcome to today's late posting episode of Shocktober 2020 on the Shelved Film Podcast, and I am your host, as always, Jeremy Meyer. We're talking about another 2020 movie today. This one, I will be the first person to admit that when I saw the original trailer, that I completely wrote it off. It just, I think it was just a case of it was a bad trailer. And, I mean, I will definitely say it's a case of a bad trailer because I have now seen the movie, and it is great. And I don't know why I'm beating around the bush because the name is in the title, but I am talking about The Invisible Man, the Blumhouse released horror film that it's, you know, I guess based on the old Universal monster movie, but it's always weird to include Invisible Man because it's not like a monster. I mean, you know, a monster of a different kind. Men can be monsters too, but men as in humans, although also men. I did not think this movie was going to be good. It came out, I kind of just was like, yeah, whatever. That trailer looked really bad. And then the scores started to hit, review scores. And it was getting I think it still has like a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. And I was like, oh, like what's up with this Invisible Man movie? And so I finally sat down and watched it. It's on HBO Max right now. So I was like, okay, you know, fine. It's available. Let's sit down and watch it. And man, was I pleasantly surprised. So it's been rumored that you know, Blumhouse might be kind of taking the reins on adapting the Universal monster movies. I believe they're working on Frankenstein now, after Invisible Man did so well. I mean, I saw the, what was that, 2017 or 2018 when The Mummy came out. I don't think that was as far back as 2016. But the Tom Cruise Mummy is a horrible film. And even I don't think I'm as negative on it as like most other people were. It's definitely a bad movie, but there were elements of it I did enjoy. But it has the Amazing Spider-Man 2 problem of, instead of focusing on the story they were trying to tell, which could have been interesting, they were way too focused on building a world because, you know, they wanted to Avenger or Marvelize the Universal monster movies, which is always just like a bizarre idea. And I'd love to see just like an outline of what the plan was to bring them all together. Like, are you going to bring monsters together to fight a different kind of monster? Like, are they all going to come together and fight Cthulhu? Like, I don't know what that would have been, but I just want to know. But, you know, it obviously fell apart. The Mummy was not a good movie. And, here we are with this film. You know, Blumhouse, they're just like, hey, you know, let us take a shot at it. You know, they do things a little more low budget, and they honestly nailed it. So the synopsis is, when Cecilia's abusive ex takes his own life and leaves her his fortune, she suspects his death was a hoax. As a series of coincidences turn lethal, Cecilia works to prove that she is being hunted by someone nobody can see. This is a really good example of a movie where like a little goes a long way, and it's kind of a brilliant way of putting a movie together because it is a film where literally an empty background can be the thing that is like freaking you out. And this movie does that really well. So it's directed by and written by, and I guarantee I'm going to get this name wrong, but it looks like Leigh Whannell. I'm not sure. I'm just going to click on the name real quick because, you know me, I do so much research before this. Okay, it's actually the guy who was in Saw, interesting enough. I believe he was actually one of the writers of Saw, but he was also one of the guys strapped up in the bathroom. So, very interesting. So, you know, accomplished. I should have looked that up. You know, starring Elizabeth Moss and Oliver Jackson Cohen, who I actually just watched Haunting of Hill House, and he was in that not movie, but TV show, and was really good in that. So it was actually interesting to see him in this, where he's playing a completely different character. And I believe he's in, or he's going to be in Haunting of Bly Manor as well. So, dude's got some range, but everybody's really good in the movie. I love just the opening. It kind of tells you everything you need to know about these characters, because the film centers around an abusive relationship, and just the opening of the movie is just her trying to escape the house, super quietly and secretive. And it just tells you everything you need to know about these characters. Like, clearly she wants to get away from him. Like, you only see him a little bit in this movie. I mean, not to kind of joke about, hey, it's a movie, the Invisible Man, you don't see the man. Like, that's pretty obvious. But honestly, even in the beginning, you only get like one real glimpse at his face, and then he's out of the movie for the most part until the end. And it's super well done. They still make him a scary presence, even though he's barely ever on screen technically. But like I said, this movie is a good example of doing a lot with a little. And a perfect example is, so as it said in the synopsis, that he fakes his death, spoiler, I guess. And so she gets his money and she's celebrating with the family, and then it just cuts to a camera angle that's like far down a hallway and looking down the hall towards them celebrating, as if somebody was peeking around the hallway. Like the frame of the hallway wall is kind of like in the middle of the shot, and it looks like somebody peering at them down the hall. I was like, oh shit. Like, that was kind of the turning point of the movie for me, where I'm like leaning forward, like, okay, what's going on here? It's a really fun film, and Blumhouse makes their movies cheap, but they do it well. And I honestly didn't even look at the budget for the movie, but I would be surprised if it was over $50 million. I'm actually gonna look right now. Yeah, the budget of this movie is $7 million, so that's super cheap for a movie like this. And it is mostly just like in houses and stuff. Like, there's not a lot of sets, and it's crazy how well this movie turned out. Like, I never thought I was going to enjoy this movie. I'm trying to think, because like there's only one spoilery thing I want to address. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should say about the movie before spoilers. I will just say you should 100% watch the movie. I was incredibly surprised by it, and I think most people will be if they haven't already seen it. All the performances are pretty stellar. Elizabeth Moss is really good. Having known some people who have not exactly been in like that kind of situation, but how to put this delicately, but who kind of maybe act in a way that her character does because of some sort of drama or trauma. I think she is very believable, and it comes off very real, and it just really did resonate with me, maybe on like a little more of a personal level. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the ending, but non-spoilery. I'm just going to say that I love the ending in the way that it's not big and bombastic, which, you look at a budget of $7 million and it's pretty obvious they're not doing anything really big and bombastic in the movie, but there is like a pretty crazy scene towards the end. But the ending is very subtle and low key, and that's something I kind of like about it. Like, in the world of blockbusters, like, I love that this horror film just has a very slipped in there ending, and it honestly feels like it could have been in any kind of movie until like the last like 15 seconds. And that's kind of what I love about it. So definitely see Invisible Man. I'm going to talk slight spoiler, just like one little thing I want to mention, and that is the nature of the invisibility and how it works. I really love that. So in the movie, the invisibility is technology based. It's a suit, like a suit with cameras on it and stuff. And this is a technology that's kind of based on things that we do have in the real world now. So it's almost a believable form of technology. But I really like it. I like that it's not some weird serum where somebody's turning invisible, or However they did it in that Kevin Bacon movie where they injected him with some stuff. It's been a long time since I've seen Hollow Man, but I love that dumb movie. And this is definitely better than Hollow Man. If you have any memories of that and are maybe a little nervous about checking out another invisible person movie. But this, and honestly, like with the suit being tech based, it is a little creepy looking in the sense that it is like these holes all over the suit with cameras. Like it does have kind of an odd appearance. It almost looks like a person covered in eyeballs when you can actually see it. And the fact that because it's cameras, there's little zooms and stuff happening all the time. So there's a noise associated with the camera. So they do a lot of good tricks of, hey, we're looking out in this field or somebody's like, oh, did I hear something over there? Is there something over there? And you can hear the like sound of the camera. So if you've seen the movie before, like going back and watching it, it kind of adds a little there. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say on Invisible Man. I really enjoyed it. It placed in my top 10 of 2020, and I really like the movie. Definitely recommend it. I also really like our Patreon subscribers. I just want to thank Patrick, one of our Patreon producers, and you can join our Patreon, get your name shout out on the show, or even coming beyond the show if you want to hop in at that tier. At patreon.com/shelved. You can also follow us on our social media at Shelved Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. Our merch store is available on our social medias as well. There's links to it at belowthecollar.com, or you can just go there and search for us, and should be pretty easy to find us. But that's going to be it for today's episode of Shocktober. Yeah, so be sure to come back tomorrow. The next couple movies I'm talking about are ones I'm very excited to be talking about because I've been wanting to see these for a long time, and I finally did, and I don't think you're going to want to miss those. So come back for tomorrow and enjoy the rest of your October.